What if 3 words spoken without any performance or agenda could quietly settle into someone's memory and stay there long after the conversation has ended? Not because they were crafted to impress, not because they followed some formula, but because they carried something real, something she felt rather than simply heard. Take a moment before we go further. If you are somewhere comfortable, slow your breathing just slightly. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of whatever you were doing before this fade to the background. Breathe in and then let it go. That kind of stillness is actually where this whole conversation begins, because what we are about to explore only works when it comes from a place of genuine calm and presence, not from anxiety or strategy. Most people, when they want to make an impression, try too hard in the wrong direction. They reach for humor or cleverness. They rehearse lines in their heads. They aim for perfect, but real, emotional. Connection does not follow that path. It does not respond to effort performed for an audience. It responds to honesty. It responds to the feeling that another person is actually present with you, actually paying attention, actually meaning what they say. Think for a moment about the last message or conversation that genuinely stayed with you. Not a polite exchange, not the routine back and forth of checking in, but something that made you pause, something that made you feel, even briefly, that the person on the other end actually saw you. What made it different? It was specific. It held warmth. It created a small but real emotional moment that your mind decided was worth keeping. This is how the unconscious mind works. It does not archive everything. It selects. It holds on to the moments that produced feeling and lets the rest dissolve into the blur of the ordinary. The standard exchanges of daily life, the polite questions, the surface-level small talk, those disappear almost immediately because they carry no emotional weight. They are safe, but they are forgettable. The mind has no reason to return to them. But a sentence that made someone feel noticed, that is the kind of thing that surfaces again later quietly when she is alone and not expecting it. This is sometimes called emotional anchoring. When your words create a genuine feeling, they do not just pass through. They attach to something. They leave a trace. And that trace is what makes you memorable in a way that no amount of cleverness or effort alone can manufacture. So, let us talk about 3 specific expressions that carry this kind of weight when used honestly and at the right moment. The first is the phrase "I want." It sounds almost too simple, but think about how rarely people use clear, direct language about their own desires without wrapping it in layers of hesitation or qualification. Most people, when they are interested in someone, speak in the language of maybe we could hang out sometime. If you happen to be free at some point, perhaps we could do something. That kind of language might feel safe, but it communicates uncertainty. It quietly asks for permission before the question is even fully formed. Contrast that with something grounded and clear. "I want to take you to dinner this weekend. I know exactly the right place." The difference is not about being forceful or presumptuous. It is about emotional maturity. Knowing what you want and expressing it calmly and respectfully shows a kind of inner stability that people respond to without always being able to explain why. It creates a sense of balance in an interaction. She is not being pressured. She is simply being shown who she is dealing with. Someone who is settled enough in himself to be honest about what he feels. The second expression is the word "because." On its own, it seems entirely unremarkable, but it functions as a bridge between a general statement and something genuinely personal. Consider the difference between telling someone you enjoy talking to them versus telling them you enjoy talking to them, because the way they look at problems makes you see things you would not have noticed on your own. The first is pleasant. The second is specific. It tells her that you have been paying attention, not in a general way, but to something particular about how she thinks, how she moves through conversations, what makes her distinct from anyone else you might be talking to. That specificity is what creates depth. Most interactions stay comfortably on the surface. When someone steps beneath that surface and names something real they have observed about your character or perspective, it registers differently. It tells you that you are not interchangeable. You are actually being seen. And being seen, truly seen, is one of the most quietly powerful things one person can offer another. The third phrase is, "I appreciate." This one shifts the quality of the whole interaction. Compliments about appearance are common. They are also, for that very reason, easy to dismiss or forget. Appreciation that reaches towards someone's character operates on an entirely different level. When you tell someone you appreciate how genuinely thoughtful they are with the people around them, that it is not something you encounter often, and that it means something to you, you are not describing the outside of a person. You are acknowledging the inside. You are showing that what you value about them goes beyond what anyone could see at a glance. That kind of recognition feels different because it is different. It comes from actual admiration, not from an attempt to create an impression. And people can feel that distinction clearly even when they cannot articulate it. When these three things come together in a single moment, something meaningful happens. Imagine saying something like, "I want to see you again because I genuinely appreciate the kind of calm you carry into a room." It changes the feeling of everything around you. That sentence does several things at once. It expresses clear intention. It offers a specific and honest reason. It recognizes something about who she is rather than simply how she appears. She feels noticed, she feels valued, she feels safe enough to open up a little further. There is a reason this works at a psychological level. Words that carry genuine emotion create resonance. They break the rhythm of ordinary, predictable conversation in a way that the mind registers as significant. They demonstrate specificity, which signals real attention. And because they carry no pressure, no desperation, no attempt to extract a particular response, they create a kind of emotional safety. There is no weight behind them other than honesty. That freedom is what allows her to receive them without her defenses rising. The quiet moments that come from this kind of communication tend to replay. Something said in the right way at the right time has a way of returning to a person when they are not actively thinking about it. And that replay is exactly how someone becomes memorable in a way that lingers. There is one important thing to understand about all of this, though. These words only carry their full weight when they are genuine and when the timing is right. If you look for opportunities to insert them mechanically into every interaction, they will lose everything that makes them work. They will start to feel scripted, and the moment something feels scripted, the emotional impact vanishes entirely. Let them come naturally after a real moment of connection at the close of a conversation that already held some warmth when you have actually noticed something worth naming. Your tone when you say them should be calm and unhurried. Open body language, easy eye contact, no over-explanation. Say what is true and then let it land without rushing to fill the silence after it. If she does not match your energy in a given moment, that is not a problem to solve. It is simply information. Attraction that is worth having develops at its own pace through mutual comfort and genuine respect. There is no reason to push. Creating space is itself a form of confidence. Connection at its best is not built on the right words alone. It is built on presence, on the willingness to actually pay attention, and on the honesty to say what you mean without dressing it up in performance. When you speak from that place, you stop being one of many voices competing for attention and become instead the voice that quietly stays with her. What makes something truly unforgettable is never how clever it was, it is how real it felt. These three expressions, I want, because, and I appreciate, are not tools of persuasion. They are tools of honest communication. Used at the right moment with the right intent, they create small, genuine experiences that settle into memory. Moments that return to her in quiet hours when the noise of the day has faded and something she heard earlier finds its way back to the surface. That is the heart of meaningful connection. Not grand gestures or perfect words, but the quiet, lasting mark left by someone who was truly present, who noticed what was real, and who had the courage to say so simply and honestly. If this way of thinking about connection resonates with you, share it with someone who could use the reminder. And if you want more conversations like this one, stay close. There is more to explore.